All right, what's up? I'm going to show you guys a video on comparing an AI coworker to an AI agent. I've been using both. I've been putting a lot of content out on my social media and up on my blog, dannorris.me, about what I've been doing with both. I've been using Viktor, which is the AI agent built into Slack, and I've been using Coworker, which is the Claude tool for doing bookkeeping and ordering and stuff like that. They're two basically totally different use cases, and I think people are having a bit of trouble understanding the difference because I've had quite a few questions about this. Let me start with Coworker. So Coworker, I think in many ways feels like a bit of an in-between step. I've been really enjoying using it, but after you use something like Viktor and you can see how powerful that is, it really blows your mind on what these things are going to be able to do once the dust kind of settles. But let me start with Coworker, because I've been using this for a real world use case, which is a job I do every day, bookkeeping and order taking. I spend basically half a day every day doing this. So you can see on the screen here, Cowork, I've got it open. So this Claude skills folder is a folder I have on my own computer. You can actually look at these skills. There's no reason to specifically, but if you want to know how this thing works. So my reconciliations, right? So these are the skills in here. If you look at this file here, I'm just going to open this with Notepad just so you can get an idea. I've trained this thing on how to reconcile my MyOb, what decisions to make when to come back to me, when to just go ahead and do stuff. And I've been training it over the last week and a half. There's an article up on my site, dannorris.me, specifically about replacing your bookkeeper using Coworker. You can see on here, this is a very long file. Like, this just goes forever. This is all the different rules that it's come up with on how to handle different stuff in MyOb. So it's taken quite a while to get to this point. About a week and a half, not full-time week and a half, but it's taken a while to get there. So when you open Claude Code, you say, okay, open my skills folder. I've chosen to have that on my computer so I can back them up and I kind of know where they are. I give it a little bit of a prompt to start, basically just saying, give me access to these sites and give me the right permissions and that kind of thing. Because I sort of thought when I originally set this up that this could be an autonomous thing working without me really being involved at all. But what I've found Cowork really is more, as the name suggests, like a coworker, like someone you're working with, not someone who's working for you. Viktor, which I've been using for another sort of application, that is very much working for you. It goes away and does stuff and comes back when it's finished. But for something like this, I'm a little nervous to use a fully blown autonomous AI to sort of go in there and start messing with your accounting system. So Cowork is more of, a hand-holding type situation. I see it as like this job of taking orders, doing the MyOb reconciliations and checking our emails is a job that I do every day. Now that I've got Cowork, we sort of both do it. So I'll get into work and I'll have Cowork on my Mac, which is a computer you can see here. And then I have Windows, which I use at work because that's the full version of MyOb is only in Windows, which is insane. But anyway, that's how it goes. So basically, the first half of every day, my job is to go through our emails, do the MyOb reconciliations, and most importantly, do the orders because those have to be done by a certain time. And I will either do them myself or I'll get Claude Cowork to do one or all of those tasks, or we'll kind of do them together. So that's kind of what this is. So let's have a look at what it's doing so far. So I've just said, give me the permissions to do what we want to do, open my skills folder, have a look in there. It's had a look and seen what skills I have in there. Chrome, okay, so it's saying Chrome isn't connected. I've actually found this to be a bit of an ongoing thing. There is some sort of, it is a beta software, so it's, I'm actually not logged in, so that's probably not a good start. It's beta software, it's buggy. There's little things you have to log in, you have to give it permission. It kind of crashes sometimes. Let me hope that's logged in on the right account. Let's just assume it has and see what happens. Claude, you can normally see, I want to ask it. I'm going to ask it what account I'm logged in as because I'm just hoping that's the right one. Check Claude 8. Yeah. Oh wow, this actually is actually going to go off and check manually for me. That's like pretty hilarious. I haven't used this little in-browser thing. You're just watching this for the first time. I use the app on the Mac. This shit makes you so lazy. Like I don't even check shit like this anymore because I know it can do it for me. Okay, cool. So it's logged in the right account. So now this is Claude on the Mac here. So let me just say begin MyOb reconciliation. So if you think about it, just think, I've just gotten to work. I know MyOb reconciliations need to be done. Let's have a look in here. It'll tell you how many I've got that are outstanding, 42. So I've taught Claude to do probably maybe 70% of what's in MyOb. It can't do everything that's in there, but let's call it 70% it can do. And what it can't do, it won't attempt, because I've taught it to do that too. It will just kind of skip over it. So it'll start by reading the whole reconciliations file. And you can see this is quite slow. Claude Code is very slow. It's actually one of the differences between this sort of coworker type setup and a full autonomous agent is the speed. Like Claude Coworker is slower than I am at doing this job. So I mean, it's obviously very fast to read because it's just read a 100+ page document in a couple of seconds. But once it starts actually looking in here and reconciling payments and whatnot and following a structured process that it has to follow to make sure it gets the reconciliations right, it's quite slow. So I don't have this doing stuff that needs to be done urgently. I have it working away in the background and I keep an eye on it to see if it's going to sort of do the orders in time. Or if it's something like MyOb reconciliations, I'll have it doing it at night when I'm at home watching maths or something, and it will just be in the background working away. It might text me when it's finished, which I've set it up to do. Or I might just, in the ad break, come and have a look to see how it's going, scroll through the messages and see how it's progressing. Another key difference between something like this and Viktor, the fully autonomous agent, is you can actually see this thing thinking. So let me bring it up. All right, so it's just asked me for permission. I'll give it permission. You don't just see the result that comes back, and you don't just see the decision it makes. You see the entire thinking process. So you can see what it's doing. Let me have a look. Chrome is connected. Let me authorize the domain. So you can see, and then you can see a little pop up there saying Claude is connected to that window. Okay, so it's basically thinking out loud as it's going through this process. So it's saying, MyOb's logged in, showing you the East Coast Roast dashboard. I can see 42 unallocated transactions, 4 documents in uploads. That's because another thing I've taught it to do is to go into the uploads area and create bills out of the invoices that we add into MyOb, which is a pretty easy, rudimentary procedural task, but it's annoying and it's a really good thing to delegate. It's doing the stuff that a bookkeeper would do if we have one. I don't have a bookkeeper. My accountant looks at my accounts once a year. I do it all myself, and now I do it sort of side by side with Coworker. So what it's doing now that you don't see is it's read through the skill and it's going through the process of how to manage this skill. And the first thing I have in there is check the uploads area and create bills out of the uploads. So you can see now, you can see it thinking. So it's saying, okay, actually I'll click on the upload so you can see it. Oh, sorry, this is the window here. So you can actually see it doing it. So it's on the uploads area there. It's clicked on the first one. You can see that's from Metropolitan Nerang. And I've got a rule in there that says Rule 5B. If it looks like a petrol station, then you just create the bill and put it to motor vehicle. That's one of the simplest ones you can do. You have to account for the GST. But other than that, that's all you have to do. Create the bill. It's already been paid for. Once you create the bill, it will then see it in the reconciliations, and MyOb will auto match, suggest that this is the bill that it wants to be matched with, and Coworker will then go and click on it, and I don't have to do anything at all other than kind of briefly sort of oversee it. But you can see what I mean by the speed. So if you have a look at this, he's talking you through everything. So it's got okay. I should say she because I call this AI Rosie. The other one is a he. So it knows the rule. I said it. She knows the rule. She can see the create button, top right. So actually, I'll show you that. So basically, clicks this little drop down here, click create bill. You can actually see it happening right now. She's just created that create bill. And then she's got to go in and put in the supplier, which I normally use miscellaneous for petrol because we use a whole bunch of different petrol stations. We don't use just the one. And then she'll put in the category of fuel and then she'll save the bill. But you can see this is taking quite a while. So like if I was to do it, this would be done by now. This is probably a 30-second job. For her, it's a 5-minute job. But again, you think about how long something takes if you're paying by the hour. Like if it was an employee and it took you 5 minutes, you'd probably be a little bit worried because you're paying that employee by the hour. But I pay a fixed monthly fee to Claude Coworker. Unless it's a task that is mission critical, the limiting factor is not the time. It really doesn't matter if it takes an hour, if it's just sitting there working away in the background. But it is something you have to think about. Like if you've got it doing orders, which I do, there comes a time if you've got it doing orders during the day when it makes sense for me to take over because I can do them quicker. And if we don't do them by 12 or 1 o'clock, we won't have time to pack the van and it'll slow other staff members down. So the speed of the thing is something you do consider, but it's not the same as having a slow employee because you're not paying it by the hour. Anyway, this gives you an idea. So this is, to do 42 reconciliations, if I was to run this all the way through, I'm just thinking this video has already been going for 10 minutes, so I'll chill out on showing you the entire process. But you can see, just having a look at this supplier. Yeah, so you can see it's going through the process now. It's put in motor vehicle. Actually, it's put in the wrong one. This is interesting. It's put in the wrong code. Let me see if it figures this out. The line item category. Okay, this is a good example because Claude Cowork does make mistakes sometimes. I'm surprised she made this mistake, and we'll see if she figures it out and corrects it. Let me just read this. Now I can see the full receipt, premium diesel. Amounts are tax inclusive is selected. Category, because the category automatically is set to MyOb vehicle registration. Oh, it needs to be changed. Okay, so she hasn't made a mistake. MyOb has made the mistake. This is actually a good thing to point out is like a lot of people will see this and think, okay, MyOb and Xero already have an auto reconciliation feature, but their feature is shit. Like you can see here, it's clearly a fuel invoice. There's no reason. I get these, multiple invoices a week. MyOb should know exactly what this is. This is not difficult at all. It literally says diesel in the invoice. But MyOb has made the mistake and put this to motor vehicle registration because MyOb's a dumbass. Cowork has seen this and is now going to change it to fuel. So, if you weren't watching what was going on, you might just tick that, leave it as is, and then you've got a P&L that's wrong. Yeah, that's a good example of where Cowork is, this is so much better than the inbuilt tools in MyOb. And maybe MyOb and Xero will get to the point where their tools, I know Xero's just announced some kind of automated AI thing, but I do think it will be very hard for them to build something that is so tailored to each business that it is smart enough. I mean, unless they give you the ability to create your own skills, have your own skill file, train it, like I'm doing now, unless they do that, which they might, then it's never going to be as good as this. All right, so that gives you an idea. If there's 42 different transactions in there plus 4 bills, that's 46. It's done one in about 7 or 8 minutes. It's going to take quite a long time to get through all these reconciliations, but you get the idea on how this works. This saves me probably 15 to 20 hours per week, which is half of my job, and it's $200 a month. So it's an absolute no-brainer. It's a super awesome tool. If you want to learn more about this, go to dannorris.me. I've got a big article on there about how I use it for bookkeeping. I've got an email as well that I send out every week. If you subscribe on the website to the email, you'll get the latest that I'm working on each week. I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm not an internet marketer or anything. I'm just using these tools in my business, sharing what I know. And these two in particular, I'm super excited about. All right, I'm going to let that keep running. One of the downsides of Cowork is it runs on your computer. I don't like to use my computer while it's running because this is using resources on the computer. These chat windows can get quite big. This is only a MacBook Air. It's not a super powerful computer. But I am going to do it for this video because I don't have 2 computers in front of me and I don't want to edit the video. So I'm going to open Viktor and show you an example of what a fully autonomous AI agent looks like. And these things are really mind-blowing. So this is Viktor. I don't use Slack anymore. I used it for years and years when I had the brewery and other businesses, WP Curve and whatnot, use it all the time. But in my current business, all right, it's actually working on something right now. I'm going to, interesting. All right, I'll pick this up. Anyway, so in my current business, I don't use Slack. We use WhatsApp to message occasionally, but it's a coffee roastery cafe business. We don't need Slack. But I've signed up for Slack for free and I'm using Viktor because that's how Viktor works. It's embedded into Slack and I don't use Slack for anything else. It's just literally just for this. But Viktor is fucking mind-blowing, man. All right, so this is already working on something. I was going to show you an example of something to work on, but he's already worked on something, so I might just continue where I left off. So let me show you what it did for me last night. Right, so this is, while Cowork is working away there, Victor reminded me that every week we like to do a blog post on the East Coast Roast blog and an email to MailChimp, and I'll do an Instagram post about that content as well. I have a guide that we give customers on pouring espresso. Believe it or not, coffee is not super easy to make well. A lot of cafes don't know how to do this, which was very surprising to me getting into the industry. But we have a guide that helps people on how to dial in their grinders and pour espresso. I gave Victor the guide. It's a 9-page PDF, and there's a 1-page, smaller version. And I said, okay, for this week's post, let's create a blog post on this very topic: how to pour the perfect espresso. So Victor went off, put these featured images in there. By the way, not just taking over my computer. It goes away and it does all this, and then messages me 10 minutes later and said we're done. It goes away, gets this image. I actually asked it to change the theme on the blog because the blog was automatically putting the featured image twice, which I didn't like, and it was automatically putting the word blog up the top. I said, change those. I don't like that. That needs to be changed across the board. It went off and changed that in WordPress. It created this article. I actually embedded this video myself in the article. I edited it afterwards because I thought about that afterwards. I thought that would be cool to include. Right, so it created this article based on the PDF I gave it, and then I said, this is the craziest thing of what it did for me. It put a image in here of weighing the beans at exactly 22 grams, which is really important to getting a perfect espresso pour. You need to weigh the coffee. And it had an image in there of a portafilter with someone holding the portafilter filled with coffee. And I said, this is an awesome image. It looked beautiful. It looks similar to this one, but if you're sitting there weighing something, holding the portafilter, you're not going to get an accurate weight because you're taking some of the weight of the portafilter. So I explained to Victor, what we actually need is don't put the portafilter on there. Put a little stainless steel container with the coffee in it, standalone, and then I can explain that sometimes you put the portafilter on there if the scale is big enough to take it, or sometimes you just put it in a little stainless steel container and then pop it into the portafilter. And then I said, put 22 grams showing exactly on the scale. So this image here, it's created. Like, this image wouldn't even exist on the internet, I doubt, because this 22 grams is something that we use internally. It's not like an exact number that everyone uses. I've just gotten a message from Cowork asking for some help. I just saw it on my WhatsApp flash up, asking for some help on processing some of these receipts. This is a crazy world, man. Anyway, so it generated this image exactly how I want it. It even has a Lamazocco in the background, which is the coffee machine that we have in our cafe, which Victor knows. One of the big differences between Victor and Cowork is Victor has a memory and knows shit. Cowork forgets everything every time you use it, so you have to have these really robust rules. Victor knows and remembers stuff, which is an absolute game-changing difference, and it's hard to see why until you see stuff like this, and you're like, whoa. Like, to do all the work it's done here, you would have to know WordPress, you'd have to know code, you'd have to know coffee, you'd have to know photography, image editing, you'd have to know MailChimp, marketing. It did all of this in about 10 minutes. At this point, you can't even really compare it to a human because you couldn't really employ someone that knows all of those things, I don't think. Anyway, created this blog post. It even put a timer on this image to illustrate the fact that you need to time the shots. Depending on the machine, may or may not have an inbuilt timer. You can get these little timers that you put on the machine to time the shots. Crazy. Put this little table in here. This content has come from the PDF that I gave it. It's recreated that. Then I said, put in the actual PDF as a lead magnet at the end of the post, so that if someone reads the post and wants more information, they can put their email address in, they'll be added to our email address, and they will get sent the lead magnet of the espresso pouring guide. Victor created all of this. I honestly don't even know how it did this. It might be code, it might be a plugin, it might have installed a plugin. I have no idea, but this connects to our MailChimp. I've tested it, it works, all completely standalone. And then this morning, I've gone in and said, okay, so for this post, I said, can you create some Instagram images for me? Because I'm going to share it on Instagram and mention that we've written a blog post about it. It's just asked for me for permission. So I'm just going to say, approve the image generation. That's interesting. It even found why my CSS change didn't work, because the caching plugin that I've just installed at Victor's request because he said my site was too slow, which it was, which I should know, but he reviewed the site, offered to review it, and found the site was super slow and fixed up a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, I used to do this for a living. Like, I really should know this stuff, but, you know, there's a million things on my mind. So, like, Victor just thinks of this and it's like, I'll fix it for you. That's crazy. I mean, this issue was from last night. He's obviously just come back and thought, hey, this might be a caching thing, and figured that out and fixed it. Like, this is fucking mind-blowing, man. Anyway, I've got 3 Instagram posts ready to go. So, okay. So I've just given him permission to create those Instagram images, and then he's going to promo the lead magnet in there as well. I'm going to put it on Instagram to mention the blog post we've written. And that's my sort of marketing for the content for that business done for the week. I'll do one big post. I'll do a MailChimp email, which Victor will do, and we'll put on Instagram that piece of content. And I'll do that every week, and then we'll gradually build up some content in the business and some authority around coffee. This business has never done any content like this before. It's just, a coffee business that I don't think it even had a blog before I bought the business. So we're getting this stuff going. So this is another difference. You can't see what it's doing. You've given it permission to do what it's doing. It's not using any resources on my computer. It's just going to go away and do those tasks. It might take a couple of minutes. But I mentioned that Cowork had messaged me on WhatsApp. So let me see what it's doing. So you can see the full history of what Cowork has done. It's creating these bills. Myba's order field, lots of details. Cafe stock usage, that's right. GST, it's still working away. It just gave me an update. So cost of sales, food and drink. Yeah, so it's thinking. So this is the cool thing. You can see by how it's thinking whether or not it's doing its work correctly. And for actual accounting information, for me, this is important. No one else knows the accounts of the business, only me. And if this data goes in there, it's wrong. It's a very big problem. So I've got it being super careful. It's showing me how it's thinking here. It looks like it's doing everything right. It's found this invoice. I actually went to Coles yesterday and bought these products, uploaded the bill in there, so I know what this is. It's looked at the invoice, seen it's from Coles, seen it's for food, automatically knows that this is food cost for the cafe because it's some ham and pastrami I bought for the cafe because Woolies didn't deliver it. Thanks, Woolies. Now I'm using Coles. Woolies are very bad, by the way, at deliveries. They never deliver what you order. All right, so you can see it thinking, that looks all fine to me. It's going through, it's creating that bill and putting it to the right category. That category is right. So this is just working away in the background, while I've been on Victor. And you can see its progress. So I'll go back to this window. You can see it's actually messaged me. So 2 of the bills, this is the message it sent to me. 2 of the bills, it didn't know how to allocate, which is good because I bought a toasted sandwich maker yesterday. I need to think about how I account for that because that's an asset. It's not something you'd necessarily put on the P&L, although I may decide to put it on the P&L. It's okay to, but that's an accounting decision that I wouldn't want the AI to be making for me. So, and then the Kmart one, it says couldn't read the receipt details. So that might be a bad invoice that's blurry or something like that. The Coles one, it's fine and it's going ahead. So that's awesome. It's been working away. It's giving me the information I need and it's still going. So still going on with comment. All right, let's go back to Victor. So this is the article. Let's see how Victor's going. All right, so Victor's come back. So does this not blow your mind? This is crazy. Like, I would think twice about hiring a marketing person when you've got access to something like this. I can't see how a marketing person could do all of this as quickly and as professionally. Certainly not for this amount of money. Anyway. All right. So it's got a hero image there. That's a little bit of a weird image. I don't like that, I'll be honest. I'm going to ask it to change that image because you would never do that. It's got a caption. Let's look at this caption. Perfect espresso starts before you even hit the button. Most people focus on the machine, but the real difference, it's in the prep. Weigh your dose. Okay. I would not do 18 grams, so that's a change we would do. Actually, probably for the Instagram post, I probably wouldn't put this detail. I would just mention that we've done the article. Interesting. That's quite cool. I might just... yeah, that's good. That's good. Wow. Okay, that is not good. Okay, so 2 of those images are not good, which is interesting. because it did a real good job on the blog post, but not so much on the Instagram post. The copy looks good though. So, oh, it's actually done 3 separate posts. Oh, I see. Okay, what we'll do then instead, I like number 2, but use a document that looks more like the PDF I gave you. So just so you know, the first image where the copy okay, so this is actually a rare situation where it hasn't really done a very good job with these images. The copy looks good. Those images are not good. So he's showing some limitations there of his understanding of copy. But I think I will just use one image anyway. So I'll probably use this one, but I think if he can do an image where it looks more like our actual guide, I would prefer to use that. That copy is good. I will use that as is. And then I've just told him to go away and find an image that looks a little bit more like our image. So yeah, I mean, that's not perfect. It probably hasn't done the best job there compared to how it's done before, but there you go. I'll just ask you to fix it. He'll come back and probably nail it. Let's go back to Cowork. How are we going? It's a 26-minute video. This is a bit long, so let me see. Okay, Cowork's done on those bills that it could do, so let me see what it's doing now. All right. It's saved that Coles bill. Okay, so now you can see it's gone through the bills. There was 1 bill it can handle, 2 that it had a problem with, which it's notified me about, which is good because I didn't want it messing with those. And now it's gone back to the dashboard and it's going to look at unreconciled transactions, which is the main job I have it doing. So I can see there's 42. It's then going to look through all these transactions and what it normally does is it looks through my rules and it hits the easy ones first, which is actually what a human would do. That's what I normally do. I kind of go through, hit the easy ones first and leave the other ones till later. You can see, okay, 42 not matched. Let me start processing withdrawals. So this is how I've taught it, is that withdrawals tend to be the easiest because Maya will sometimes find at least examples of what it's done wrong. And I can see on my phone, Victor has just replied to me that he's regenerating the images and that he's sorry about making that mistake. So that's cool. So what Claude Cowork is going to do is go through all of these transactions, find the low-hanging fruit, and then get back and start reconciling the transactions. And this will be about as quick as the uploads was, which is to say not very. Some of these will be obvious, like you can see. Let's look for one example. So that George's one, you can see that's matched it perfectly with an invoice, and he knows that if that happens, it can just tick it off. So he will go through and tick those ones off. Other ones, you can see like this Rustic Mill, they're our bakery supplier. There's 5 suggestions because we order from them every day and they give us an invoice every day. This is a lot of admin work. That's why this is good, because some of these, it's not difficult at all. All you have to do is click on 5 suggestions, see the oldest invoice for the matching amount and reconcile it. But you have to do this every single day. And so obviously a bunch of these have been paid at once, and Cowork is going to go through and see that, and he will know exactly how to reconcile those ones quickly. So that's assume what it's doing now. Let's have a look. Yeah, scrolling down, reading the transactions, and then we'll come back with the low-hanging fruit. All right, let's have one more look at Victor to see what is going on over there. All right, so I have to approve the image generation. Okay, so actually he's going to regenerate all 3 images, which I didn't specifically ask for, but I don't mind that idea. I mean, generally, if I was going to post something on Instagram, I like seeing a few different examples. So he's saying he's going to get the espresso pouring out of the bottom, which obviously makes sense. He's going to try and get that flat lay image matching our PDF, which might be difficult. I don't know how good he's going to be at actually seeing how our PDF is designed and making it look like that. Because, I mean, honestly, that one there looks a lot nicer than our actual PDF. It's not marketing collateral. It's a kind of training PDF that we give customers. Portafilter basket on scale, that's fine. So yeah, so you give it approval to generate because this uses tokens, and it'll go off and do that. So I think I've covered, I mean, you get the idea. If you made it to the end of this video, it's 30 minutes of your time. So thank you for your time. Hopefully that was useful. You can see the clear difference between both things. Both are really, honestly, truly awesome. I'm hoping Claude Cowork gets some of the beta little buggy things out of the way and becomes quicker. And Viktor, honestly, the only downside I can think about Viktor is the price. It's once you can see what it can do for you, you want to use this thing all the time, and it is expensive. But then again, expensive compared to what? Expensive compared to software for sure. Expensive compared to an employee, not even close. But that is a consideration. You got to think about what kind of budget you have each month for using this, because once you can see what this thing can do, you're going to want to use this all the time. All right, hope that was useful. Check out dannorris.me, jump on my emails, and you can get more content like this. Have a good day. Bye-bye.